Hello, this is the news on NTA International. I am Minna Daniels. The headlines. Muslim worshippers world over perform Eid-el-Adha prayers. Messages of sacrifice and peaceful coexistence dominate khutbah. Perfect storm of war, climate change and man-made shortages bring Sudan to shores of water crisis. Khartoum, other cities suffer acute shortage. On International Father's Day, President Tinubu describes them as major pillars in building homes and society. President Bola Tinubu is asking Nigerian Muslims and indeed all Nigerians to imbibe and carry on with the lessons of sacrifice of the season and play their role towards actualizing a greater Nigeria. The president spoke to journalists after the Eid prayer led by the chief imam of Lagos State, Sheikh Suleiman Abunola, at the Jordan Barracks in Lagos. State House correspondent Musbah Dan Wahab reports.
President Bola Tinubu once again reunited with people in his hometown for the Salah celebration. It was for the two-standing prayer led by Lagos State Chief Imam at the Jordan Barracks.
Inspiration to Prophet Ibrahim.
In the sermon, the Chief Imam, Sheikh Suleiman Oluwatoyin Abunola, acknowledged sacrifice, the essence of a festival, as part of the symbols of piety toward God. Citing the sacrifices made by Nigeria's forefathers for the existence and unity of the country, the Chief Imam admonished the citizens to always be conscious of their deeds to support nation building.
All their activities and actions were passionately geared towards our nation building. We must therefore ensure that their labor and struggles are not in vain. It is therefore incumbent on us to follow their footsteps in ensuring that great nation Nigeria continue to grow in leaps and bounds. We are also to note that Allah forbids any act of tribalism, terrorism, ethnic superiority amongst his servants, but he loves mutual cooperation, unity, compassion.
And for the president, the message and teaching of a season translate to patriotism and commitment on the part of the citizens.
Sacrifice, being a very good citizen, it comes with responsibilities as citizens. What do you do as a citizen to be a very committed member of our society? That's sacrifice. Loving your country, loving your neighbors, share what we have with each other, and be thankful to Almighty God.
The Chief Imam led a special prayer for more strength and wisdom for the president as he continues to lead the country aiming at greater peace and prosperity. From Lagos, Musbah Dan Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in Maiduguri, Vice President Kashim Shettima was among Muslims who observed the Eid-el-Kabir prayer held at the Ramat Square. State House correspondent Abdul Rahman Jibrila reports.
Imam Idaini of Borno, Sheikh Shettima Maman Saleh, led the 2 rakat prayers with Vice President Kashim Shettima, Borno State Acting Governor Umar Usman Kadafur, the Sheikh of Borno Abubakar Ibn Garba El-Kanemi, and other stakeholders in the Borno Emirate Council. The Imam reminded Muslims on the need to pray for leaders as well as peace and harmony across the country.
We urge Nigerians to pray for the peace in the land and for prosperity and this is the agricultural season. We hope and pray that we'll get a bumper harvest that will address some of the food security challenges we are facing. Beyond that, we want to emphasize on peace. We have to cultivate peace. We have to promote peace, because there can never be development without peace, and there can never be peace without development. They have to go on pari passu basis. So we have to rally our people to unite as a people and face our common challenges and avoid grandstanding. Thank you.
The Ramat Square Eid ground witnessed high turnout of worshippers, signifying the return of peace in the state. From Maiduguri, Borno State, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
The Deputy Senate President, Barau Jibril, has enjoined Nigerians to continue to support the government to address the challenges hindering the growth and development of the country. This is part of his Salah message to Nigerians shortly after observing the 2-rakat Eid prayer in Kabo, local government area of Kano State.
Imam Jafar Mustafa Kabo, leading the 2-rakat Eid prayer. He reminded the Ummah of the need to remain peaceful and uphold the lesson of sacrifice which Eid-el-Adha teaches. In the congregation are prominent personalities, including the Deputy President of the Senate, Barau Jibril, who used the occasion to inform Nigerians about government efforts towards improving the economy and addressing security challenges being faced in some parts of the country.
What is happening in this country is something that has international dimension. It's not restricted to Nigeria alone. It's problem insecurity, terrorism. It's a problem that is applicable to the entire world. So we should continue to give the president the necessary support, and also pray that what he's doing to bring about total peace in this country is made successful.
Senator Barau also appealed to Nigerians to continue to pray for President Bola Tinubu, who is doing everything possible to address the nation's development challenges.
The federal government is doing very well to diversify our economy, make it private sector based, and also increase our source of revenue, improve on our sources of revenue. Also try to bring about peace, as I said earlier, security, and so on and so forth, food security. So I call on Nigerians, all Nigerians, to give the necessary support to the government so that it's able to deal with the problem decisively.
He further stressed the importance of unity and support to one another among Nigerians.
Muslim faithful, including the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, want Nigerians to uphold the lessons of sacrifice being showcased as a strong pillar while remaining steadfast in contributing their quota towards nation building. Salihu Gwanara reports that the 2-rakat obligatory prayers were observed peacefully at the Higher Road Jumat Mosque in Kaduna.
The early morning downpour in Kaduna could not prevent Muslim faithful from observing the 2 important rakat prayers. Chief Imam of Yahya Road Jumat Mosque, Muhammad Khalid's sermon emphasized that kindness and obedience to constituted authorities are necessary moral obligations of a Muslim faithful.
This sacrifice is for all of us to have a good life here and in the hereafter. And we do hope and we believe, as all Muslims and as all Nigerians, that at the end of the day, we will have a prosperous Nigeria and we'll have a fulfilled life, not only here, but also in the hereafter. We call on everybody to come together, to get united, to keep behind the President's message of hope, of resilience, of unity, and of patriotism in the interest of not just our country, but humanity as a whole.
Consistent with his desire towards national values rebirth through national reorientation, the minister believed prayer is key. And on a day like this, Sunday, members of both dominant religion in Nigeria have a role to play.
And we want to also express that the government, like Musa has indicated, is very much with the people. We've been trying to see that we can uplift the living standard of the people in every facet of our society.
The minister thereafter slaughtered a ram to fulfill the religious rites. In Kaduna, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Lessons of patience, sacrifice and obedience to Allah, as well as constituted authority, was the embodiment of the khutbah at the Abuja National Mosque Eid ground as Muslims observed the 2 rakat spiritual prayers to mark this year's Eid-el-Adha. Onoto Yakubu reports that Imam of the National Mosque, Professor Ibrahim Makari, led worshippers to observe the prayer.
The heavens opened at the dawn of a new day in Abuja to usher in the festivity with a shower of more blessings. Therefore, the National Eid ground relocated to the National Mosque for the 2 rakah prayer. Allahu Akbar. Don't put record for them. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Imam Ibrahim Makari's khutbah was emphatic on the lessons inherent in the celebration, with a charge on the Ummah to embody sacrifice and obedience, virtues of love, patience, as was demonstrated in obligation by the prophets Ibrahim, his son Ismail, and the noble prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
By Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's instruction, sacrifice for one's nation to defend his nation with his blood if needs be. Sacrifice for one's family and one's relations, we are obliged by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to fight the aggressors, like the bandits we are being terrorized with. To fight them, to defend our families, to defend our wills, to defend ourselves against this aggression.
Worshippers extolled the virtues they learned from the festival thus.
That we should be patient and tolerance and imbibe the culture of compassion, unity.
We should always obey the laws of the land, be patient.
I would like to make use of the lesson by sending messages to my loved ones, calling them and wishing them Eid Mubarak.
Of course, security of the worship centers in the territory on days like these is of paramount value.
The FCT were not just looking at just today alone. They've been preparing for it before, and it has come up now, and they still have the aftermath of whatever celebration we have today.
With the Imam slaughtering his sacrificial ram, he paves the way for members of his congregation here at the Abuja National Mosque, and as well the entire Muslim Ummah in the FCT, to go back home and begin the merrymaking to partake in the celebration of this very auspicious Eid-el-Adha. Imam Makari enjoined worshippers to be benevolent and charitable in the celebration towards the less privileged. In Abuja, Onoto Yakubu, NTA News.
The Eid-el-Kabir was conducted peacefully with the Sultan of Sokoto and the President General Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs in attendance. Tahatu Abdullah reports.
The 2 units prayer was attended by the Sokoto State Deputy Governor Idris Muhammad Gobir, the Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar, and the top government functionaries among thousands of Muslims.
La ilaha illa ant subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin.
In his sermon, the chief imam of Sultan Bello Jumaat Mosque, Imam Muhammad Bello Akora, enjoined Muslims to fear Allah in their dealings, be kind to one another, and share their sacrificed animals with the needy. The chief imam later slaughtered his ram to signal the commencement of the Eid sacrifice. In his Eid message, Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar called on government to do more toward addressing security challenges inimical to socio-economic development. He said Nigeria is grappling with challenges and the citizens are facing hardships, and that no meaningful development can be achieved without security. The Sultan called on the citizens to pray for the nation's leaders and for peace and socio-economic development. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari has joined other Timin worshippers at the Daura Central Eid ground to observe the 2 rakat congregational prayer. Hussein Solomon reports that sermon by the chief imam Abdulaziz Umar has dwelt on the importance of the animal sacrifice to Muslims and Islam. The report.
Prominent personalities at the prayer session were the Emir of Daura, Umar Faruk Umar, and former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammad Buhari. A sermon by Imam Abdulaziz Umar put more emphasis on the significance of animal sacrifice in Islam, with adequate explanation of the types and classes of animals acceptable. The Imam has also encouraged Muslims to continue to remember the Almighty Allah in their day-to-day affairs. In their Salah messages, the Emir of Daura and the former President Muhammad Buhari drawn to the Nigerians the need for unity and a continued prayer for the economic stability of the Nigeria as a nation.
I'm very pleased. I understand people went back to the farm. I'm very pleased with that development, and I hope the rainy season will continue to be as good as it is now.
To celebrate Eid with everybody, that means everything to us.
But we pray that Allah will answer all our prayers, bless us, and make peace prevail in our country.
The Emir of Daura has later received a homage from his subject and other traditional title holders in a festive atmosphere of Daura. In Daura, Hussein Suleiman, NTA News.
This is the news on NTA International. We have more reports after the break. Thanks for joining us again. Muslims in Ibadan joined their counterparts across the globe to celebrate the 2024 Eid-el-Adha, also known as Eid-el-Kabir. Ayomoko Ajibola, who was at the Central Aid Ground, Ibadan, reports that the State Deputy Governor was among dignitaries at the praying ground.
In his khutbah shortly after the prayer, the chief imam of Ibadan, Sheikh Abdul Ganiu Agbotomokekere, urged Muslims and indeed all Nigerians to remain committed to God in prayers for the peace, unity, security and progress of the country, while calling on Muslims in Ibadan land, Oyo State and Nigeria to use the period of the celebration to reflect on the purpose and lessons of the Eid-el-Kabir, which include sacrifice, love, charity and piety, among others. The chief imam advised Muslims to draw from the Prophet's examples by eschewing tendencies that could affect the unity and stability of the nation.
It's about tolerance. All Muslims know that we have to tolerate one another. We pray that we should live in harmony so that together we'll move the state forward.
There's an atonement that today symbolizes all around the world. And Almighty Allah will bring and restore happiness and joy to Nigeria.
Muslim Umar were also urged to use the occasion to make supplication to Allah for continued peace and prosperity of Oyo State and Nigeria in general. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
And in Edo State, Muslim clerics admonished the faithful to make sacrifice for the growth and development of Nigeria. Victor Odion Archer went round some prayer grounds where Eid-el-Kabir was observed.
Islamic faithful in Uzarwe converged on the Jeto Eid ground to pray for Nigeria and obey the command of the Almighty Allah in the 2 Rakat prayer led by the Chief Imam, Sheikh Mohammed Shuaib. The Ogenene of Uzarwe, His Royal Highness Kadiri Imoni Homobadi IV, joined others to pray as he spoke on the significance of the day through the Daudu one of Uzarwe.
A message from His Royal Highness is to wish everybody happiness and joy for the celebration of the Eid-el-Kabir.
In Auchi, the Chief Imam, Professor Zakaria Oseni, led faithful in the Eid-el-Kabir prayer. The chief imam and other faithful who harped on the significance of the celebration said it is to commemorate the obedience of Prophet Ibrahim to the Almighty Allah. At the Abede prayer ground, the situation was the same, as faithful were led by the chief imam in the 2 rakat prayers. The Idonogie of Satibi, His Royal Highness Kevi Danesi II, led faithful to pray to the Almighty Allah in observance of the Eid-el-Kabir.
For us to be united as one community and to embrace one another.
High point of the prayer was the symbolic slaughtering of the ram. In Esako West, Victor Odion Acha, NTA News.
The worshippers flocked to Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, Islam's third holiest site, to perform Eid-el-Adha prayers at dawn. Palestinians marked this year's Muslim holiday in the shadow of the war in Gaza. Comfort Fashel completes the story.
Despite the ongoing conflict and violence in Gaza, Muslims in the region came together to perform and celebrate Eid-el-Adha, one of the most important Islamic holidays. Eid-el-Adha, also known as the Festival of Sacrifice, commemorates the willingness of Ibrahim to sacrifice his son as an act of obedience to God. It is marked by prayers, feasting, and the giving of gifts to those in need. And more than 40,000 worshippers performed Eid-el-Adha prayers at Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem on Sunday. For the festive period, Israel's military said on Sunday it would pause fighting around the South Gaza route, also to facilitate peaceful celebration and aid deliveries. The Gazans also performed Eid-el-Adha prayers amid the rubble of destroyed homes and buildings in the northern Jabalia refugee camp. Yemenis as well showed solidarity with the people of Gaza during Eid-el-Adha prayer in the capital, Sana'a. As they celebrated Eid-el-Adha, Muslims in Gaza also prayed for peace and for an end to the violence that has rocked their region. They hope for a better future for themselves and their loved ones, and for an end to the suffering and loss that has engulfed their community. Comforts, Fashion, NTA News.
Eid-el-Adha is one of Islam's most significant festivals and is celebrated at the peak of Hajj exercise in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Dr. Alabi in this report tells us more about the mood of pilgrims on Eid Day as this year's Hajj winds down.
On the day of Eid-el-Adha, the feast of sacrifice, scores of pilgrims make a journey to Mina to throw 7 stones at Shaitan, also known as the devil, at Jamra, a place where the devil was believed to have been rejected. Many of the pilgrims observing this ritual are also praying to Allah for forgiveness, mercy, and particularly not to fall into temptations that can dissuade them from the path of Allah.
It's been an amazing journey so far, even though, you can see the weather is really hot, but you don't even get to feel it because the feeling that the journey that you're walking through, that takes you, take your mind off things and stuff like that.
My prayer point is, all I want is in this world, happiness. Allah should make me to be happy always. Allah should increase my piety. Allah should increase my wealth. Allah should do everything that is good for me on this earth.
I was here maybe like 14 years ago, and since then I've been longing to be here, and I'm happy that I'm here.
It's very meaningful for me. So I just want to say thank you, Allah.
Not everyone can come here.
Yeah. Most of the pilgrims have had their rams slaughtered, while some are still busy throwing pebbles. Others who have completed theirs are already shaving their hair as they can change from the ihram to personal dresses ahead of farewell circumambulation of the Holy Kaaba or Tawaful Wada.
In Islam, Hajj is a leveler. And regardless of your status, your color, your race, your language, you are all one. wearing the same clothes and doing the same thing at the same time.
The annual pilgrimage to Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia is an obligation only for those men and women who are physically and financially able to perform it once in their lifetime. From Jamra in Mina near Mecca in Saudi Arabia, Tokwe Alabi, NTA News.
A perfect storm of war, climate change and man-made shortages have brought down Sudan to the shores of a water crisis. Several Sudanese cities, including the capital Khartoum, Omdurman and Port Sudan, are getting parched. Comfort for Shale has more.
War, climate change and man-made shortages have brought Sudan, a nation already facing a litany of horrors, to the shores of a water crisis. The country is hard hit by climate change as temperatures climb past 40 degrees Celsius, which is equivalent of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. This summer, the mercury is also expected to continue rising until the rainy season hits in August, and that still usually comes with torrential floods that affect dozens every year. The Soba water station, which supplies water to much of the capital, has been out of service since the war began, said a volunteer from the local resistance committee. The UN Security Council has, however, on Thursday demanded that the siege of Al-Fashar end. If it goes on, hundreds of thousands more people who rely on the area's groundwater will go without water. The country at large, despite its many water sources, including the mighty Nile River, is no stranger to water scarcity. As revealed by the United Nations, a quarter of the population had to walk more than 50 minutes to fetch water even before the war. And now, from the western desert of Darfur, through the fertile Nile Valley and all the way to the Red Sea coast, a water crisis has hit about 48 million Sudanese. Comfort, fashion, NTA News.
And on the occasion of Father's Day, President Bola Tinubu congratulates fathers, including all paternal figures who have in no small measure contributed to shaping the destiny of the nation by their sacrifice, forbearance, provision, protection, presence, and, of course, guidance of the young ones to the noble and true path. The President affirms that society is in better stead with fathers who rise to the great demand of responsibility, guiding the children through the vagaries of existence and preparing them for the future, as well as bequeathing to them pristine values that money or maternal comfort cannot provide, but only by personal example of discipline, integrity, service, respect, love, and allegiance to the nation. And that's the news on NTA International. Many thanks for watching. I am Mina Daniels.